Get your horror figures at Big Bad Toy Store this spooky season at the link in the description.
Oh no! Dragon Ball, horror, kaiju, and more. Steven's Toy Reviews.
Hello there, collectors. It is Steven here, and I'm back with another The Thing review. I say another because this is going to be the second one, and it's from NECA now. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me get. All right. This is. I want to get the name right here. This is the Ultimate MacReady Station Survival. I want to get the name right because they're probably going to do another one of these because this one doesn't have all of the head sculpts. But anyway, yes, this is the Ultimate MacReady Station Survival. Or, as we should all know this one as, the flamethrower one. The one that they probably should have put on the market first. But I don't get paid to make those decisions. I just kind of sort of get paid to do this. So let's take a look at this MacReady. Now, this is probably going to be the one that most folks are going to want to get because of the flamethrower, and he's going to come with a revolver. He's also going to come with some other fun accessories, and quite frankly, the head sculpts here is going to be just about all you need, but should you have both? Should you get one? Should you get the other? Let's take a look to see whether or not this one, or maybe even the other one's going to be worth adding to your collection. Spoiler alert! Probably going to need to get both. Those taps were bangs against my head because what I wanted to do for this review, kind of like I did for my Kong reviews, I just wanted to reuse the footage and just kind of play it off pretty cheeky and just do the new segments, but NECA added the belt. So I had to do everything from scratch. Cool. Good job. So basically, everything is going to be the same, except for some very, very minor differences, and we're really going to be able to see that in the side-by-side comparison with the first release. I don't have that box in front of me, so I think that was Outpost Survival? Whatever that name was. NECA, just V1, V2. Do it like you did your Godzillas. It'll make everything easier. Anyway, so for this one, we are actually going to have some differences, like I said, and the default head sculpt is going to be kind of the shocked or the spooked face with the mouth slightly open. And the likeness, yeah, okay, now with the actual portrait on the box and in the sculpt, maybe it's the paint, I don't know. NECA, please let's improve the likeness quality here, please. Thank you. Anyway, paint application for the jacket, we are actually going to have some more notable browns here, which looks pretty nice. And on the pants, yes, the base color is going to be green, but again, you'll notice this in the side-by-side comparison, we do have some orange dry brushing. Very cool. Now for the belt. Okay, cool. We have bullets painted gold, up close and personal, macro photography. You can see the gold's not quite perfectly painted, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. Now, holster. All right, cool. Made of soft plastic. It doesn't seem like anything detaches, except there is the peg that this goes in on, and it's rather thin because mine was not glued from the factory. I don't know if it should be that way, but that's not the best way to do this because I have a feeling this is going to tear off, especially when you put the gun in and then you pull it out. Just something to keep in mind. Overall, though, likeness, I guess some folks think it's better than others, but overall, for what we do get here, actually a little bit better, except for some small quality control issues compared to the first release. Articulation. Second verse, same as the first. It's the same figure, so the joints are going to be the same. We have the head that plugs into the neck on a ball joint. We have very good movement there. No neck movement, which this was, I would assume, engineered at the same time as Frankenstein, so that's a little disappointing to see, but he looks up about that far, down about that far. Swivels at the shoulders. Be mindful of the jacket. Made of rubber, so we are going to have a little bit of a pseudo V-cut there. He's very squeaky as well. And then he is going to hinge up, just like that. We are not going to have a true bicep swivel, but a single hinge elbow, which has that much range of movement, and it does plug in on a swivel, so it does move around. For the wrists, let's go ahead and remove his glove here, because this little glove part does come off. They are all going to be swivels because they plug in on the forearm. on a peg, and then they do hinge. What's a little disappointing with this release for all of the hands is they are going to move like this, in and out instead of up and down. So like this and none like that. So it would have been really cool because a lot of the hands are repeated from the first release if they were able to do that. Just so this way, you know, we would have some more hand variety for those who picked up both releases. All right, torso. Nothing except for a ball jointed waist. So he can spin all the way around. What about the gun? We'll talk about that in a second. Ball jointed hips. Kicks about that far forward and back, and that far out to the side. Obviously, we will have a thigh swivel. Single hinge knees with a swivel. Very good. Now we do actually have a boot cut. Some folks miss that. Ankles are fantastic. Hinge forward and back. And then we have a peg so we can get ankle rocker movement. All right, cool. Now, the gun, the revolver, it can be holstered here on the hip, right? Now, can he go to grab it? Awkwardly, this is kind of why I wanted this movement as well. You can move the gun a little bit, and you can, it's not the correct hand, I don't want to force it. This way you can do like kind of like that. But let's go ahead and end the review section here for articulation. You can see how thin of a connection that is. So you're going to stress that and you're going to break it. So just something to keep in mind. So can he reach for the gun on his hip? Yeah, kind of, sort of, not really. But overall, the articulation is good. But having just handled the H2 Michael Myers, I feel like we're kind of moving a little bit back. Can we find a middle ground, NECA, please? Please. Accessories time, and oh boy, this is why you're going to want to get this one. All right, so by default, we are going to get that sort of shocked, spooked expression. We are going to get the normal default head sculpt, but with the hood up. We are going to get a whole bunch of different hand parts, which we will see in different scenes throughout this section of the review. We are going to get the flamethrower with an attachable fire effect, dynamite, wire spool, Petri dish of Palmer's blood with a nice big blood splurt that we saw in the movie, revolver, and ice axe. So here's a picture of the head sculpt you already saw from the first review, this time with a blue hood. Now we're going to go ahead and move on. Now for the alternate hand parts, we are going to get left and right hand parts, so this way he can hold the guns that he's going to come with. Guns including the trigger for the flamethrower. Very cool. He's going to come with a left hand, so this way he can hold the blood tray, the Petri dish, and then he's going to come with another dedicated right hand so we can hold the dynamite bundle, and then another right hand to hold the ice pick. Now, do take note, the two default gloved hands also work pretty well for some of these accessories. So as we are taking a look here, I've been talking about him. The flamethrower, I do think is a little bit awkward to put on. I mean, there's no other way to do it except for sliding the straps over his arms. If there was a detachable method, I think that would be best, just because I feel like those straps are going to give way over time, but it is what it is. Now that flamethrower effect, unfortunately mine had a couple of little black dots in there. I think if I were to maybe take a toothbrush and really scrape in there and get those out, that could happen, but otherwise I think this is really neat. And what's cool about this is sometimes you'll have effect parts like this that have unique pegs and they only go in one direction. You can actually rotate this and spin this around. Now, taking a look at the blood Petri dish, this one is actually really cool because you can display the Petri dish on its own, or it has an effect part for the thing to splurt out, which is really neat. Now, it is a little bit funky to get MacReady to hold this in his hand, which again, there is a dedicated hand part, but it looks very cool once it's in there. And what's neat for the wire spool, which I don't think I should give NECA credit for here, because I think it's more so a quality control issue with white paint dripping, but it does look like there's some exposed wire on the inside. That's pretty neat. Dynamite bundle, I mean, pretty straightforward, not a whole lot to say there. The ice pick, I don't know, maybe we could have gotten something else here for this accessory. Okay, it's there, it's pretty cool. But the revolver, the gun, that is pretty cool. And as we showed earlier, he can have it on his hip. And of course, as you've already seen throughout this review, sprinkled in here and there, the accessories are 100% interchangeable with the first release. So if you're going to want to get one release, I definitely recommend you get the other. Oh, Spoiler for pretty much the overall thought of this review. But as you can see, I mean, this is pretty friggin' sweet where you have that angry face MacReady getting ready to burn up an enemy. Yeah, that's really cool. It's what you're going to need. Now, if you do need support stands or effect parts, I got videos to help you out there, and I would recommend a stand just because that backpack for the flamethrower, it does offset the weight a little bit, and he did take one dive when I was doing the 360 spin view. You want to make sure you're not going to break anything. Now let's go ahead and move on over to a size comparison. He's just as big as the first figure. So if you have that one, you already know how big this guy's going to be. Now let's take a side-by-side look with the original release. And like I said, not a whole lot has changed here, but upon close inspection, you will see that the jacket for this release has a little bit more heavy-handed brown, and on the pants, we are going to have a little bit orange. Now, upon first inspection, just kind of looking at them side by side, I did notice the brown on the jacket, and I don't really think that that's so much a change as in they went to say, oh, let's do this, as it was a quality control thing. Because, I mean, let's be honest here, this is NECA. You can get one figure on the shelf that looks exactly like the prototype, while the other one has 2 left arms. And then they'll say that the next batch of figures is supposed to release Q1. There's a shipping delay in Q4, and then they'll say that that shipping delay is the whole issue why their stock is backed up, and no one's getting their Ninja Turtle releases. What's going on? Anyway, the pants, though, I do think that is an actual change. So kudos to them for adding more detail. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Yeah, like I kind of said already in the accessory section at the end there, this is definitely a release that if you're going to get one, you're going to have to get the other. Why? Flamethrower. Enough said. Also, more head parts. Fantastic. We're going to need that. Now, aside from just the flamethrower, we're going to get the dynamite and the blood. So that really does help pad out this release to be one that I think folks, if they're going to want to get just one MacReady figure, this is going to be the one to get. However, the first release is also great in its own right because, hey, we get more weapons and more accessories here. I do think that NECA really should focus on articulation because even though they are working on a better single hinge model for their elbows and knees, it does feel like just handling the Michael Myers that they released, that those were just better than this one. I think NECA can do better. But overall, this is a rather solid figure. But please, please improve your likeness. You can do much better. Let's see it.
Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.